Hey there, today I want to show you how to gather resources and put them in a global inventory system. With this, you will be able to store resources like wood, stone and any other material you want to have. So let's start with the resource types. For this, I created a public enum resource types with wood and stone. You can edit that for any other resource. The next thing we need is a resource base class. This is an abstract class, so every resource can derive from it. It will store some values and have a public method getResourceType. To gather from the resource, we also need a method getResource. Here we return the resource per work and subtract from our resource amount. If the resource amount is below 0, we destroy our current object, but with a little delay, so we can return the amount. And to make it a bit more interesting, we animate our current game object. We just shake it a little bit from the left to the right. So all we have to do now is create a resource class for every resource we have. For example, in the resource wood, I decided to set the resource amount random between 19 and 120. The resource per work will be 10, the resource type is obviously wood, and our animation movement will be 0.2. The stones will have larger amounts, about 250 to 300, but the resource per work will be only 5. And I leave the animation movement as the default. So these scripts will be attached to every tree or every stone in the scene. So to handle the values of the resources, we need a resource manager. Here we first create a resource value array with the length of our resource types. Then at the start, we add some resources. To add the resource amount, we first need the index of our resource type, and then we can add the amount. And we basically do the same thing to remove the resource amount. We get the index of the resource type and check if the global amount is greater than the current amount, and then we can subtract the amount. If the amount is not sufficient, we will throw an exception here. If the amount of our resource changed, we also want to update our UI. If you want to know how to update UI elements with the UI builder, check our other videos. In a previous video, I showed you how an NPC can find the nearest object. So here, if it finds one, we want to start working. So for this, we store the nearest object to our working object, and then start working. To start working, we need a base resource class. After that, we start a coroutine to gather the resources. This will be an infinity loop with a working speed for the seconds. Here we get the resource type and the resource from our resource base class. And then pass these values to our resource manager. If the resource destroyed itself, we stop all coroutines and tell our NPC manager that we are finished. And this one will send the current NPC to the next target. So, I hope you learned something new today. Subscribe to watch more tutorials and I'm sure I see you in the next.